All right, welcome back, everyone. 皆さん、お帰りなさい。今日は、163日目です。It is day 163. So, something interesting happened that is unprecedented today. So, I usually complete all my lessons and then you're used to seeing a 0, right? But this is the first time since the beginning of WaniKani that I've encountered a curriculum change or like a curriculum shift. So now there's one extra lesson. So there's one lesson I checked yesterday. Like we complete our lessons are good to go because we're in the fall state, right? We still got 3 days before the level up. Yeah, or not the level up, but 3 days before the second peak, which is very modest these days. So my thought was I go to the forum, I look for like a content swap or an injection somewhere, and I have seen threads about this where like people are upset that they're not informed, that meanings are changed, primary, secondary meanings are changed, and then they've trained themselves on specific definitions and then the definitions are blocked or what have you, right, after the fact. And I can definitely empathize with the whole idea of being trained on something and then not having like a historical log that is relevant to them automated, right? So for example, there's no log in front of this anywhere that suggests that something was changed in my curriculum. Now, while that is incredibly inconvenient, and maybe for those, I sympathize with those who are incredibly reliant on the face value of a tool because automation is king nowadays. And it kind of goes back to my fairly one-sided discussion. I thought about what I said yesterday in Duolingo, like during my Duolingo Japanese session, when someone came in and wasn't able to commit to explaining things, right, to me about what I inherently find was cyclic logic. This is probably a great time to bring that up. So this idea is, yes, I can sympathize with someone who is incredibly reliant on a tool. And when they use a tool to learn something, right, to form a habit, create a habit formation, and that association gets tweaked after the fact. So that's provided that the developer, they do list this somewhere. In the forums, you can look at content updates or something. In this case, I don't think it's posted yet. I think this was updated today because I use it on a daily basis. And I looked at the content update and there wasn't any shifts yet. So I'm expecting some sort of log post for this. Now, the concern about this criticism is often with people who are far later down the road in WaniKani, where changes are made to their review stack or their lessons without their notice, as in it's already passed. In this case, I can see the mechanical change. I had 0 lessons and now I have 1 today, right? So at least I observed a change here. But there is no backend there, as far as I know. There are no accurate backends to taking account of status changes. The content updates or alterations are listed in a word basis on the forum. Now, for myself, while I do sympathize those who are completely reliant on automation and a trust of a tool to do all the automation for you, I check content updates regularly as part of someone, at least myself, who don't actually expect this as a standard. Now, it is great to have that standard, right? Like, I love patch notes. I like reading patch notes regardless of how trivial it is. I play Neverwinter Online for over 11 years, and I still read the patch notes, and it could be like 3 bullet points. Fixed 3 typographical errors in a game that's over 11 years old, right? That's kind of me. But my baseline is that if I see something that I like or something that's automated for me, I compensate for it. And that goes back to Duolingo Japanese yesterday. When someone said there are richer ideas listening to podcasts and anime that Duolingo doesn't offer because Duolingo watered downs Japanese and make it gamery. Like, yes, that's essentially what it is built for. So you don't like Duolingo with its intended design, right? And I agree with you. Duolingo is definitely not for you. I do both. The idea is whatever Duolingo doesn't do, I will integrate that when I watch anime and podcast, or listen to podcasts, or listen to vlogs. I try to connect the things. When things do things differently, I complement them, right? And in this case, this is one of those. A skill that I have collected for the most part is I look at WaniKani, I see what it doesn't have based on my prior experiences. I see what it does have, and for me, I produce a behavior that may compensate for it in the future. So for this, I'm basically looking for a content update. The last announcement in the content forum was June 5th. It is June 11th. So there hasn't been a post to why I have a certain lesson. I imagine what happened was they either moved a later vocabulary word forward, as in to a lower level, and maybe they might have removed a current level that I have further down the line. They might have shuffled 2 things. But the reason why I'm thinking they shuffled 2 things is to keep the workload stack the same, as in like the reductive way of saying we don't want to increase the reviews, right? So if you have to move one forward, you probably have, so it's a substitution, not a displacement or anything like that. Substitution. And so I'm likely thinking I might have words that I know now reappear somewhere down the line. That is probably the consequence of this update. And that's interesting. I'll keep track because I have the skills, in my opinion, to be invested in what I'm doing. So I will probably check the forums. Maybe I'll come back to you when about this. I did look and track and see something in the background before I started today, and I did notice that there are a few things that got shuffled around. So it can be confirmed in an indirect way. Exactly what happened, it's kind of hard to tell. And that's okay, right? For myself, it's not a point of emotional distraught or anything, largely because I will be able to adjust to it. Being blindsided and like being blindsided or pretending like you don't know this stuff may happen, or maybe ignorant and short-sighted enough to not see this stuff being a part of developing and maintaining the content of such a tool, in my opinion, can be incredibly emotionally stressing, which those people have my sympathies. However, I cannot empathize with individuals because personally, having experience using tools, knowing what they do for you, knowing what you can do with them, knowing what you can use them for, which was the topic yesterday about Duolingo Japanese, that using the Japanese you learn by practicing it is not considered using Japanese according to people who have very selective focus. So that leads into this topic here where, well, there are many things I do outside of WaniKani, and inherently that type of experience creates foresight about these things. So I can no longer empathize wholeheartedly with the frustration that I may be able to sympathize with. Like, it seems logical to be irrationally miffed and angry. This is a very, very common topic on WaniKani, so it presents a great opportunity. I actually foresaw this to happen earlier, but it's happened now. And how long has it been? It's getting close to 200 days. Actually, it's only 163 days, and I was expecting this to happen eventually because of the way they lay out their apps without like announcements and whatnot. Hanzuhiro actually has a dedicated announcement, not necessarily a log or a tracker for changes, but at least an indicator, an announcement. That's why every day I log into Hanzuhiro, I think, oh, there hasn't been an update in over a month, right? And that kind of thing is fantastic. It's a modern standard. It's an expectation, right? It's an expectation. However, if it's missing, the due diligence lies on the user. Now, you could get angry and say, well, the developers don't listen to my feedback. They don't like putting this stuff in. You can ask them why they did not do this and how and the reasoning. And then if you disagree with it, that is a disagreement. It's a conflict of interest. However, while being distraught and spending lots of your energy complaining about something that a lot of people raised and they decided not to, and you still want to use the tool for what it can use, oftentimes negotiating the emotional impact is can be alleviated by having the skills to compensate for it anyways. So for myself, for example, here's another topic that comes up very, very frequently on WaniKani. Why can't I just schedule my reviews? Like, I want reviews to be set at X time because it fits my X schedule, not a time that whatever SRS is set for, right? And oftentimes those who cannot empathize wholeheartedly would suggest, well, what's the difference between waiting to do everything at once at your leisure than knowing that, you know, you see this is what triggers a lot of these people. Like, why can't it just be one stack? It's like, what's the difference between waiting till 7 p.m. or just waiting the next day when they're all stacked together and seeing this, right? And that is, in my opinion, often a lack of emotional awareness, because mechanically, when you set your schedule to a particular way, you'll be able to still do those things and enforce those things at your leisure, either sufficiently before or sufficiently after. So you can create the stack yourself by exercising due diligence. But this is often seen by those who I sympathize with but do not empathize with, is that idea they see it, so it exists as a problem, right? It is not seen as a convenience in which they don't have to adhere to. I don't have to wait till 7 p.m. to do all of them. I could wait even longer. Or I don't have to do all of them, and I can do 4 p.m. I can do the 19 tomorrow and then let the others stack. Why is this a little bit important? It's dealing with habit formation and then building consistency in things like communication practice. Things go up and down. There's a lot of wiggle room that is set to reality, right? When the reality of developing a life skill, especially language learning, interestingly enough, or habit, any form of habit formation, is there will be fluctuations, but it's the overall net consistency that's happening. So when what I feel the internet conditions very, very well, we can take a note from fitness. You know, Cue the person who believes that when they forget their creatine hit for the day, like they missed their creatine window for 2 hours, and all your gains are gone. You have to start over from scratch one. That's not how homeostatic things work. To use a biological system, like your body, a biological system as an example, and your brain doesn't do that either, for the record. So when you accidentally, leaped over 4 hours, your brain doesn't automatically suddenly forget and things are all out of whack, right? However, your emotions do. Now, I'm not suggesting that the brain and emotions are two different things, but I'm talking about the intellectual impact of memory, of plasticity in memory, versus how emotionally distraught you can become, right? I think emotional awareness, which someone says emotional intelligence doesn't exist. So for those people, I'm not talking to people who don't believe in emotional intelligence, but one of the nature of emotional intelligence is the awareness that your emotions are potentially clouding your logical ability to negotiate these practical workarounds. A tool is fantastic if it's perfect, absolutely, but I certainly can't empathize with someone who finds like this to not be a workable thing to your advantage. Like, now you get to decide because of granularity, right? When something has a lot of resolution, it requires critical thinking skills in order to navigate the subtle fluctuations. This goes back to my discussion about internet behavior and how people talk about logic and generalities. When you generalize this, it's easier to find clarity, right? Let's say instead of using 4-hour blocks, they use 36-hour blocks. If they use 36-hour blocks, it means your schedule has less resolution. So naturally, if it was 36-hour blocks, you probably won't get any of this because there's no granularity between they're in 36-hour periods. I hope people aren't studying or take 36 hours to complete like a block of something like 100 reviews. I mean, it can happen. And when you generalize, it creates binning bigger, so you don't have to see the nuances or the resolution of or the details of things. So for example, yesterday someone told me that podcasts, anime have richer ideas than a gamery watered down SRS or attempt at an SRS system based on vocabulary. And their criticism is one has ideas and one doesn't have ideas, right? Well, one does something that they stated that's different from the other thing that is stated. So fundamentally, they're different. Citing the things that are fundamentally different from them makes them incomparable. The idea is you need an output as a form of comparison between the two. So I would take something like, oh, you learn paragraphs and context better with anime than Duolingo, and that would be acceptable. But that's not the metric they chose. They chose to describe what Duolingo is and what anime. They didn't even describe what anime and podcast is. They just said there's rich in ideas, whatever that means, right? And then they described using an application of what you learn as the transference of ideas. And here I am on WaniKani, and I'm thinking, what ideas are being transferred by WaniKani? Well, someone who's really, really upset about this, like if I have a friend and they come up to me and they're like, oh man, I love WaniKani, except this one thing where every time I'm doing reviews, they don't just collapse the things. Like if I finish in 4 hours or 5 hours, it should be the same. Like I don't want to see these bars. There should be an option for that. I'm like, okay, all right. Is there any possible way that you can interpret this differently, right? Would it be different if they told you that you have what, 39 reviews at 7 p.m. versus 19, 23, and 7, like after 7 p.m.? Or would you want to say there's 19 reviews before 4 p.m. and then these are ignored until next 4 p.m., right? And the idea is trying to look at it from a different perspective without changing the reality of like the objective fact of what's being displayed. And then I feel like stuff like that, conversation like that, looking at things from a different perspective can often transfer ideas, exchange ideas. Ideas are perceptions. They're not facts. Ideas are not facts. The fact is that person listed a fact about Duolingo being watered down in Gamery, which I agree, it is watered down in Gamery. That's the intent of its design. And then they didn't list a fact about anime or podcasts. They said there were rich ideas. That's like saying the thing I like, I'm gonna hand wave so that it's excused from everything. And then I'm only gonna name the negative thing, which also happens to be the fact about that thing. That is a leap of logic and it's incomprehensible. So my attempt was to interpret that as straightforward, as direct as I can, with follow-up questions. And of course, it was followed up with nothing, like barely anything else. It actually followed up with a lot of statements that contradict their original statement. And to me, that gets back to WaniKani. So the question is, am I upset about this happening? Like, technically, I could give you an example of an emotionally in like in an unaware person, like an emotionally ignorant person of themselves. I could see a case where someone is going to get miffed and it's going to ruin their day to realize that, oh, maybe I was trying to maintain a 0-0 streak, right? A 0-0 streak. And now technically my 0-0 streak ended because I had one lesson and that should be saying 0. Like, why did they change it? It should say 0. It triggers me so much. Why? And then it goes down a rabbit hole of red herrings and confirmation bias. Like, why do they have to move it? It's not a big deal anyways. So after a while, you will come to a very large logical conclusion that this is a dumb thing that WaniKani devs do. And to me, that explains a lot more of the motivation in which you can get to a point where things like this, for someone who's outside of this problem at the current moment, where they're not concerned with the granularities of this stuff, they're like, I don't understand the big deal, right? You do the lesson, today will be another 0-0 day. Or why there isn't streaking or patch notes and whatnot. I think a lot of times when you already have skills and awareness of how those skills apply to your emotional response, you can talk about things like I'm talking about now and still appreciate continuing to do the things or changing it up yourself, right? I could write the patch notes and then someone say like, why would you want to write the patch notes? I mean, it's not your job to write the patch notes. And my thought was, well, I could learn something about writing the patch notes. I could learn something maybe a skill that I haven't used in a long time, about how to manage my time, for example. Time management. In fact, to me, it would be pretty interesting to look if they divided it up by half hour or even 10 minutes, because then you have so much granularity that is excessive. So they're trying to pick a balance, like, would the resolution be more appealing to you with 1 hour resolution or 4 hour resolution? Technically, they could get away with 4 hour resolution largely because the minimum spacing of reviews are 4 hours from the time you did them. You can make an argument for that, certainly. So why am I saying all of this right now? Yesterday, when I was talking during Duolingo Japanese, it is the things I see and read that are constructive criticism or passed off as constructive criticism is far more emotional nowadays, which is something I have to take account of, right? It's far more emotional than it is constructive, and it has to come from somewhere. So for myself, if I'm managing a service, a live service, WaniKani is considered a live service. There are subscription, unless you're like me, who bought a lifetime license, right? Live service requires the need for sympathy or empathy for the source of the complaint. Understanding the source of the complaint allows for perhaps quality of life changes that may pay back in dividends, right? In this case, I do feel like there's a dissonance between the WaniKani community and the WaniKani devs. However, overall, I think is sufficient to maintain order, right? Now, there's another underlying theme here, and that's granularity and nuance. When someone, yesterday, my conversation with this particular person is one of those that I would say humorously, in a jokingly way, would be described more like, tell me that you don't care about the way you learn without telling me that you don't care. And you only care about the results. And that's perfectly fine, because that's what I'm used to talking about most of the time. I'm used to talking about people who care more about the results than they care about the thing they're talking about, like the process, right? So when someone sees Duolingo and they see watered down gamery, and then when someone sees anime and they see the limitless potential of the Japanese language, that is generalities. Now, I may have quite a lot of examples in my time to illustrate that in neither case they are what they seem from an experience standpoint, with nuance and granularity in terms of learning capacity with respect to like the user's mindset. Now, this person can choose not to see value in the things they don't like or want to use. It's a little bit different than passing it off as constructive criticism for someone else as advice, right? And I don't think the person was actually advising me. I actually asked them, to the person's credit, I asked them what they think, and they were very candid. So now I can use that as an example to demonstrate how I get closer to the normal commentary that I receive. Duolingo fundamentally doesn't do what anime does. So if you want to use Duolingo for what it does, and then use anime for what it does for you, right? Anime is very highly complex. Talking to another person is incredibly complex. Now I can give you an alternative example in which the more complex thing may be exceedingly complex to the point where it becomes a passive process that is incomprehensible. When we think about comprehensibility, which is a very common trend for language learning, comprehensibility, in my opinion, also includes the perception of the person and the mindset. So if you're not interested, for example, in a discussion, for example, that last yesterday's, when that person dipped in the middle of the conversation, if you're not interested in the conversation, that is one of the mechanical drawbacks to the complexity of listening to podcasts and anime. Now that is a compromise. Not only is there a richness in ideas, which I'm presuming I understand what this person means by the richness of ideas, the potential of extracting and exchanging ideas, or in the case of that person, the potential of being informed of an idea, not exchanging or applying or using the idea. I disagree fundamentally with that person. When you're watching an anime, you are not using an idea. An idea is being explained to you, or at least this person is hoping that it is explaining an idea to you. It's different when you're watching a show and you're thinking outside, you're breaking the fourth wall and you're constantly analyzing the anime. Like, what is the influential potential of a serialized shonen show that runs for 1,000 episodes plus? That is the exchange and transformation of applying the idea. You witness this product and now you're applying the ideas that it gave you, not passively soaking in an idea that is explaining to you. Like, oh, hey, Monkey D. Luffy is very powerful because the show told you it's very powerful. And my first thought is Monkey D. Luffy is powerful in many different ways that isn't just simply being a pirate literally on the screen. Much like Duolingo doesn't do what anime does, but it does other things, right? And WaniKani does that too. So why is that important? When you delve into a skill, and sometimes people think learning specifically just the context of a language is the skill. That's knowledge, in my opinion. And applying that knowledge requires skill and wisdom and experience, right? So when you gain knowledge of a language, you use it in as many ways as you can. And it is very obvious to me that person, when presented with the literal evidence in front of them, when they're chatting and whatnot, they cannot see that I am using things that I learned. One thing that they fail to appreciate, because in my opinion, it's right in front of them every single day, is that I am streaming this actively and providing commentary on its impact on me. That person don't see that anymore because it's very normal. So how would it look like if someone sits there, goes online, and then the algorithm feeds him like 60 different things that confirm what he believes in to be true? You no longer see it. You repeat the knowledge that you have, but is it true anymore? That is the question I was trying to get at. And to me, since I don't share the same perspective as this individual, I was trying to introduce an alternative viewpoint. I understand that person's viewpoint. Now the question is that person able to understand my viewpoint? Because the reality is I spend more time interacting with other people. Like if I had to take a bet, I'd probably spend more time interacting with people and talking about language learning with other people than this person. It's hard for me to imagine someone able to trivialize how other people require certain things to get into language learning or to be consistent in language learning, to come to a logical conclusion in which they generalize things without awareness of the granularity, the nuances of learning. So, but it is, again, very, very possible for someone to learn another language, but fail to ever refine or iterate on the way they learn something. To me, that is what I like to emphasize when language learning becomes overrated. Like if someone says, oh yeah, language learning is overrated. People think learning a language does all these things. And my first response is, I actually agree with you. For the most part, nowadays on the internet, unintentionally, people don't learn these things anymore. They don't quote, seize the opportunity of reevaluating the way they learn by tackling a very difficult challenge. They actually spend most of their time having someone else do that solving for them, and then find the easiest, most convenient, short path, lowest effort possible way to make themselves consistent, and hope that that hard task, that hard, long task that requires problem solving, critical thinking, self-evaluation. And we also talked slightly about discipline, which this person only talked about one sphere of discipline, and that's being emotionally stoic. And I tried to add to that, but I doubt that person was around. But discipline is like saying anime makes you good at Japanese. That's the reductive nature of the conversation. Their description of discipline was, oh, it's the ability to suppress and manage your emotions so that you can get the things done regardless of your motivations. That is probably quintessentially one of the most generic way of understanding what discipline is. Discipline has at least 4 or 5 spheres that can be categorized. And even then, I don't think 5 categorization is sufficient. That's kind of like this WaniKani. If you look at WaniKani in blocks of 24 hours, which Hanzuhiro does, right? I don't see the rest. But then when you look at 24 hours as 24 individual hours, then you have WaniKani's review forecast. And now it looks a lot noisier. It looks interesting. You have a lot more details to look at. It's like, oh, hey, look, I know exactly where I digressed one of the days. Oh, that's interesting, right? It captures more information. But do you find that information useful? Well, that's a great indicator of whether you care about the process or not, or you care about the granularities or the details. Now, when it comes to the overall scheme of language, this person categorized that the spoken language is overall, and hello Jack, sorry, hello Jack. So this person yesterday categorized that at its core, a language is inferred, this is inference, is made to be spoken. And my thought was, are you inferring that is made to be spoken? Because so far you have only typed, and then watching an anime is listening. Watching like listening to a podcast is listening. That's a different dimension of speaking. Yes, they are related for sure, but meanwhile I'm here looking at a screen with characters that involves reading and writing. So that to me illustrates what my position was already when talking to this person. This person, again, you can still become fluent in a language. You can learn a native, like you have, that person has a native language. You can have these things. You don't have to be interested in them. And I think that's where that person and I clash very hard, right? I do not I'm not interested in generalities. I'm actually interested in how deep a person gets in the granularity of learning. Duolingo doesn't work if you let the flaws, if you don't understand the flaws or the things it lack are the things you need or require for sufficiency. If you don't remember any of the vocabulary, do you understand why you don't remember any of the vocabulary over the long term? And if you do learn that from using Duolingo, then drop Duolingo and go find possibly another tool that does it for you. Or alternatively, you can do it yourself, right? While using a tool. There are two different paths here. One is definitely far easier and less and far more efficient. And it doesn't involve reinventing the wheel or doing any effort, right? In critical thinking, you can go look for a tool that will provide the solution for you. However, when this person compared the watered down gamification of Duolingo to anime, they legitimately did not respond to my criticism that there are things watching anime doesn't do. One of them is it doesn't hold you accountable for actively watching the anime on a regular basis at a time in which you are held responsible for getting a correct answer to something. An anime at the end does not prompt you. Was someone being a nuisance in chat? No. It was a like a quick talk, and then the person left. After I asked them a bunch of questions and I like tried to double down on talking about what seeing what things can offer them, but they just choose not to see that. So, but they left already. Like they left way. Like I wanted to know. I wanted to know. See, I didn't even get to the point where I wanted to ask them, what do their schedule look like now? Like how long have they been doing? Like what are the pitfalls that they have come to realize about themselves? Like up and down. They were gone beforehand. So I just continued. I continued with my spiel. I did a spiel. I talked in the beginning of Duolingo Japanese yesterday for like 3 to 4 hours, and I was making a comment because I was trying to demonstrate something that may look excessive. Like if someone saw it, it's like, why are you overcomplicating these things? Why are you working harder? Just go find a tool. Like, why don't you just go on Boon Pro and it does all of this stuff for you, right? And I was trying to spend 2 or 3 hours practicing how I would explain why I'm like drawing arrows and listing WaniKani stuff when I'm using Duolingo Japanese, right? So after the 3 or 4 hours, I paved a lot of examples and anecdotes. And then immediately after that, this person said something. They asked a question, an innocent question, which I answered to the best of my ability. Then I followed up with a question for them, and they were the exact prototypic person that I spent 3 to 4 hours talking about. So then I did the spiel again, or I was already seasoned. I was already warmed up. So I might have been a little bit like ready already for the discussion, and I might have been a little aggressive. I was moving fast. I was moving very fast. But in the end, the way this person generalized things, I was hoping that I could make it appear like you can do more than simply watching anime and podcasts for ideas, and then you only can see Duolingo as a watered down gamification. thing. Like, the idea was, okay, if they think anime is rich in ideas, anime is rich in a lot of other things too. You can sentence mine. You can watch a very specific anime podcast. You can add even more things that you would learn from Duolingo. Like, how does one compartmentalize and extract sentences? Sentence mining is an aspect of Duolingo that would inspire someone to be like, oh, you know what? I really love this scene from an anime, and I need to break this scene down. I really want to know what they're saying here. So you can take a transcriber, transcribe the entire dialogue, break, quote unquote, water down the dialogue into sentences and words, and then look at the specific vocabulary words, right? These are ways to learn that demonstrates that what anime does is not enforced for what Duolingo does. And one is cheaper than the other to this person. But the way that person talked to me, it was very targeted because I happened to be on Duolingo when they brought it up. They didn't talk about an understanding of what Duolingo does and what anime and podcasts do for them. So I very aggressively, I'm gonna admit, I concede, I was a little bit aggressive, like fast even. I wanted to ask, like, what do you think anime does for you? I'll give you an example. Like, this is what I did yesterday, I believe. I asked them, what do you think, can you explain what do you mean by rich ideas? Like, what is that? I'll give you my idea while you're writing yours. The person didn't ever respond, by the way. I told them, like, okay, so one thing that is present in Duolingo when it comes to the learning process that is absent in anime is due diligence. It is scheduling. Oftentimes when people watch anime, there is not a plan or itinerary or a schedule to watch anime. Now, you could make an argument you only watch seasonal anime and you watch it when they first come out. That's fair. That's actually scheduling. Now, does the scheduling involve active learning? Actually, no. In fact, most of the time when people say, oh, I just want to be told that I get to always watch anime and it will be good enough to become fluent in Japanese, that is overgeneralization. If you step back enough like this, where you generalize enough, yes, input from anime can potentially make your Japanese really awesome. But how? What's the granularity? What's the explainer for these things? Can this person explain to me how that process works for them? Or are they generalizing and having wishful thinking? Because wishful thinking implies that they are undisciplined. So then I asked, and they asked me, oh, you do this every day, right? That seems like it's very disciplined. And my first question I asked them afterwards is, what do you think disciplined means? Like, what is that? What does it look like? And then they described that discipline is being able to do things consistently, whether you like it or not, and being emotionally stable about it. And I thought about it for a moment. I think if I can recall, what I did was I paused. I read his statement in my mind a couple more times, and I told them, if that is the only evaluation of discipline, like if they're solely evaluated on the idea that even when you're emotionally drawn out and tough, discipline is overcoming that, like overcoming all your emotional baggage and whatnot and continuing to follow through, I told him that I'm not a disciplined person by that definition. And I explained why. Because discipline also requires that you understand when it's not working, you know how to make it work better. So ultimately, it's a balance between, oh, okay, I'm a little tired now, but it's okay. I can still manage to get my results or progress being slightly tired. When I'm really tired, something is not working, and it takes discipline to understand that I need to fix this. I need to reevaluate what I'm doing in order to be consistent again. And the reason why I say I'm not that disciplined compared to this guy's perception of discipline is most of the time I'm not doing things because I hate it. I don't voluntarily do things because I have to overcome some sort of burnout or some grind. I am disciplined because I focus a lot on making that not something I have to do. I spend my time with due diligence and very clever things about myself to make the experience as enjoyable as possible. Not the easiest possible. It's very different. Not the simplest possible. I am using due diligence and discipline to be consistent at doing the most I can without constantly feeling like I'm doing it because I have to. That is part of discipline. There are at least 4 spheres of discipline. One of them also deals with scheduling, time scheduling, right? Being able to evaluate and introduce new ideas consistently, forming habit formation. It's not what this person described simply as perseverance. That, in my opinion, yeah, discipline isn't just sticking to something. Yes, and to me, it gave me a golden opportunity to illustrate what I spent 3 to 4 hours yesterday explaining beforehand just to myself. Like, I was talking to no one when I was doing Duolingo Japanese. I was explaining why I'm doing this. It was a pure coincidence. People don't listen to, like, I don't talk to people when I'm ranting and monologuing at the beginning or the end of things. Like right now, I'm monologuing in the beginning, and you happen to show up, Jack. I'm not intended to talking to anyone. It's something that I talk to myself about in order to keep myself, ironically, more disciplined. And the idea here is, I'm concerned. I am very, very concerned when I want to make friends. I want to interact with other people. Like if I want to work with someone, right? Or work for someone or interact with someone in the long term. My first thought is, if you are rudimentarily lacking discipline, emotional intelligence, and also like process-oriented thinking or goal-oriented, like problem-solving and critical thinking skills, generally speaking, I would like to get ahead of that first. Because in my vision, I think automation, the internet, algorithm, all these automations have made it optional to have these skills. And these skills make someone, in my opinion, this is my personal belief, with these skills, life seems far less miserable. And in my opinion, it's a superpower for most humans. In today, it might seem like a superpower. I would say before all of this hyper optimization and conveniences, they were a necessity. They were necessary to be successful. Being able to communicate. The irony here is this individual, I kind of slightly got triggered, and I said that later down the road. This person described to me like learning Japanese is effectively at its core all about communication, or about communicating. And my thought was, yes, so does using the English language. so does everything else that I mentioned. How you communicate is an expression in itself mechanically, but it also is bound and capped by how much wisdom you have. So when you go around saying huge hand wavy comments, a way to improve your communication and one's wisdom is to challenge oneself to see how well you can actually communicate those ideas. So going up to someone who happens to be on Duolingo Japanese and saying it's a watered down, it doesn't count as using or applying the language while streaming it as well, and then saying that it's watered down in gamery, which is what it is, that's great, that's knowledge but not wisdom. You're bound to expect to have someone ask you a question like, and what does that mean to you? Like, break it down for me. It's like someone coming up is like, oh, you're playing a video game, so it's not serious. Okay, break it down for me. How is a video game not serious to you? Like, explain. Because saying what the thing is doesn't explain what you mean or how it involves providing wisdom. Like, for example, I could say, oh yeah, that apple, that's an apple. That's why it sucks. That's an orange. That's why it doesn't suck. That's what they said to me. I don't, in my opinion, that might be unfairly generalizing, but if I were to get on the level of that person's discussion, I'm like, yeah, I know Duolingo watered down things and gamify things. Do you understand why they do it? Do you understand what was the intent behind it? And then can you tell me what the pros and cons of doing that is? Right? Like, why did Duolingo gamify language learning? If you can explain that to me in your own words, why that is also bad and not rich in ideas compared to anime, then we're getting somewhere. However, if you can't, or you leave and don't defend it, or what have you, then yeah, it's far more efficient. And it would be agreeable to both of us that perhaps we're not in the best of state of mind to exchange ideas. Because they believe, in my opinion, that when someone talks at them, that's a transference of ideas. It isn't. When I talk at you, you ignored what I said and what I asked. That's not a transference of ideas. That's a pretending like you listened and you did nothing. That's passive learning. If you passively engage in most things, you can listen to it and think you know something and retain nothing. That is exactly who I was talking to. And I do feel that is a social norm on the internet. It's a part, but definitely not the only thing to man, I don't get why so many people downplay Duolingo so much. Like, sure, it's not the best, but nothing can be the best. It's just what you like. Do what you want to do, even if it's slower or so-called worse. That's something else. They make it something like Duolingo offers virtually nothing. It does. That is, you captured the moment, Jack. I don't think I've ever more consistently encountered a comment than somehow something that exists does nothing. When it comes to like the internet culture, you either do everything, either it's the best or it's the worst. And to me, I push back on that because I don't want to personally, as a PSA, I don't want people to normalize that. I think the internet has done a great job unintentionally informing people while hyperpolarizing zero and ones. And to me, it's important skill that affects the way people communicate with each other nowadays. Like I still continue to focus on communication. So when someone isn't a winner, they are a loser. I don't like that. I'm not the greatest fan of normalizing what is objective and then substituting emotional interpretations of what is objective as though it's fact. It's a fact that Duolingo is gamified. It's not a fact that it is similar to anime and therefore anime is better. That is not a fact. It is a fact that the person prefers to watch anime than be on Duolingo. That is probably a fact. More likely to be a fact. And also, anime is different from Duolingo. That is a fact. Now, trying to compare them when they are fundamentally different, that is illogical. That requires a leap of logic. So, can you do both? According to this person, you can't. So that's kind of, you know. Hang on, let me ban this bot. Our daily bot on Twitch. They say it's watered down and gamey, but maybe I like it like that. We didn't go into there. I think that would have been very inappropriate. I may have indirectly insisted that it might work for other people, but we weren't talking about if it worked for other people, right? For example, if you know what I mean, Jack, it would be very inappropriate to do what they were doing, which is using whataboutisms. Basically, here's a great way to you apply whataboutisms in internet arguments. They will cite an example that supports their situation, their position, and then they will cite the negative example of the situation that disproves the thing they don't approve of or they don't believe in. So instead of comparing what two things do and then comparing what those same two things don't do, they choose to focus on what the thing that they like actually does with great detail because they use it, right? If they use it, they are more likely to know more about the things that they're doing. Despite me asking them, they didn't answer that question either. So, and then when you're talking about the negative thing they don't like, they only cite what it doesn't do, or they infer that it doesn't do the thing they're looking for. That's fine. What I attempted to do is add to what they haven't considered. Duolingo schedules things. It has a path. Anime does not. Right? So that is, I didn't say if it was good or bad. I didn't use like negative comments like, oh, Duolingo has an excellent, important, sufficient learning path for those who are lazy to schedule time. And anime, there's no schedule at all. It's kind of like willy-nilly and undisciplined. I could have said that if I was using the same type of cherry-picked emotional response, interpreting like facts about things while spinning it with an emotional bent. Like, oh my gosh, watching anime is so terrible because it doesn't help you learn how to schedule and be active with your learning things. It's like, well, anime just doesn't do that. However, someone saw potential. Now you can have an app that schedules your immersion. And that person knows how to make a couple of money off people's insecurities and inconveniences. So now you can go and click on your favorite, I don't know what's in vogue right now, but in Japanese, there are quite a lot of apps that schedule your immersion. Or they give you and sieve through immersion so you don't have to look for them. Heck, there might be a service out there that organize the anime in a progression level, so you don't have to think about choosing your anime and being interested, because you can get them to convince you that this works. Trust the process, right? That's great. That is someone who knows that there are things about watching anime at your own choice that people don't do. I'm not making those products, I just do them. Off topic, but that has to exist. It does exist because I'm thinking of very specific examples. In fact, there's one for Spanish, Dreaming Spanish. Hats off to those people who are combining immersion and then breaking it down and using a scheduling process and evaluation process. There's an import version where you import your things and it breaks it down and archives it and stuff. It starts with an M. It's like Migoku or something. I forgot what it's called. Sorry. Mira. Let me hang on. Immersion Japanese app. What is it? No, it's not Jump Speak. Not Fluent U. Oh, Migaku. Yeah, I was close, but not close enough. Migaku, where you can consume whatever you have and it will distill and archive all the things for you. So it will tell you things that you might have messed up or challenged and stuff. And that's great. Where there's a market, where there's someone who understands different parts of what people don't do, you can market that, you can sell that, and that's why they're making a lot of money. And their preferences equal universal facts, am I right? Yeah, more or less. And whataboutisms is a wonderful phrase that came out. I think it's a really old phrase, but recently it came up to more popularity, whataboutisms, and that's the whataboutisms. A great example would be, oh, I see, you're learning Japanese pretty well with WaniKani. What about Anki? There's millions of people being successful with Anki. It's like, well, what about it? Explain it. Explain it to me in a way that makes me understand that you understand what WaniKani does for me, and then explain what Anki can do for me, and then compare and contrast what Anki has that I can leverage. Explain the inner workings of Anki to me so that I can see a use case for it in which it is not redundant or comparable, right? I use Duolingo because I don't use anything else like Duolingo. So I watch anime not doing what Duolingo does, because if I wanted to do what Duolingo does, I would use Duolingo. And then sometimes I get a little spicy and I bring whatever Duolingo does into my anime, and then I bring whatever WaniKani does into my Duolingo. That's different. That's next level. That is the transference of ideas. This person thinks that sitting around, in my opinion, this person gives me the impression that if you're sitting around and you're listening to a podcast, you learn the stuff, or like you've soaked in the concepts. I can tell you now, there are kids every day who sits through a class and effectively do not retain or learn anything because they choose not to. So yes, it is about communication, but there's another point to this. It's the person at the other end. So when someone says transferring ideas, how is it trying to transfer the ideas to you? How is it doing it? Because if you're not interested in it, you don't gain any transference. It's interference. Interference is an antagonist to transference. So if you don't like the way WaniKani works, it's going to be terrible. It's going to be a terrible experience for you. And then this person is telling me that if you have discipline, you can make WaniKani work. Then why do you think Duolingo is a watered down gamification that offers little value to as opposed to podcasts and anime. Funny. I just found it a little bit. I was being cheeky. I do have to admit, and I'm being cheeky right now, where this person represents the ideal example that I am doing all of this to address. I'm trying to be very flamboyant, like a bit more reactive, a bit more explanatory, because I think you can have discipline and you can make things very disciplined, and all while at the same time be working very hard without necessarily feeling miserable all the time. But my thought is, there are people who think out there that you can do everything you want nowadays without it being hard at some point or something along the line. Because hard also means unfun, and hard also means not interesting, and hard coincides with exhaustion. And I don't think they do with discipline. And I do hard things not because there are easier things to do. I do hard things because it's intellectually challenging and it makes me excited. Like, man, Duolingo is watered down. How do I fill it up? I don't know. Watch me do it. You know, how do I fill my time up with this? All this talking is because today WaniKani did this weird thing, and here we are, 1 hour later, and I'm still talking about it. It's such a great topic. Like, am I using the Japanese that I've learned? Well, kind of indirectly. I mean, I'm learning Japanese using WaniKani, and then it sparked all these different takes and different topics and whatnot, and off topics even. And that's awesome. That's why I come on and pander to myself most of the time until someone comes in, challenges me, and we spend like 3 or 4 hours going back and forth if they want it. But usually it's like 15 minutes and the person can't explain anything to me anyways. And of course, you might be saying, well, the fact is I have a mic and then that other person is stuck typing. Hear me out. You just stated the same thing this person talked about with Duolingo and anime. You stated a fact that's true about me. I have the mic. And then true about you having to text. But what aren't you saying? I cannot randomly look up facts, fact check my grammar, and do everything live, right here, visible, because I have to do it live. You also have the benefit of fact checking out your logic. When I ask for a definition of discipline, you could actually do that very, very quickly. You can cross-reference and then send your message. So now we're a bit evening out what the differences are. So if you choose to only see that I have a mic and it takes you time to type, listen here, right? What happens when I give someone else a mic and me typing? That person then would say, well, I'm introverted, so I don't really know how to practice communicating through speech, and I'm not comfortable with that. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's what we call a double standard. A double standard. So you think, in my opinion, that my ideas just come from thin air, and I have no experience about language as a communication device. I have no idea that Duolingo is watered down and gamified, and then no idea that anime has a wealth of ideas that you can learn from or choose to gain. That's interesting thought. And I used this example again yesterday, Jack. It's a Dr. Mike example where he was reacting to an anti-vaxxer, and then that anti-vaxxer said this one line. She said like, "Oh, well, I understand the facts. I actually, unlike other people, unlike other people, I study and read in front of Dr. Mike." Like, so yes, so Dr. Mike reads and studies too. Like, what are, like, how? I don't understand. Like, so because you actually read and study, that somehow makes you different from the person you're talking to who also studies and reads. That's what I hear a lot of times when someone says, this is better, that's worse, this is the best, that's the worst. I hear, I like this, I don't like this. I like this, I don't like this. Explain. Well, my explainer is, I like this and I don't like this. Like, well, okay, I'm glad we cleared that up, because I am no more wiser than I was before answering the question. May I attempt to share some of my wisdom? You don't have to listen to the wisdom or the knowledge. I just want to share my point of view, and you can take it or leave it. Most of the time, people leave it. So that confirms my biases. I would love to differ and say these people educated me in the way of learning that allowed me to add more things. I added WaniKani because there were people that invested time in explaining what WaniKani does to me. I learned about SRS and Hanzahiro because there were people who understand the process because they used it a lot, and I was genuinely enthusiastic about it. I watched a new movie 2 days ago because someone genuinely resonated with the things we talked about. The movie was fantastic, by the way. Perfect Days. If you like Japanese things, like a modern life, like mundane life, understanding the the humbleness of austerity, like simple life, and from a Japanese perspective, Perfect Days is fantastic. It was really wonderful. Minimum like bombastic slap in your face set pieces, the average Joe, minimum like dialogue. It was like an appreciation for nonverbal communication that really highlights the Japanese culture and the Chinese culture when it comes to like everyday life. Man, that movie was fantastic. And I'm preparing this because not Tom Nook was the one that suggested it, and I'm ready. You will watch that, Jack? I would love to hear what you think about it. To me, that's my life, by the way. Like, surrogately, that's what it feels like. It's a whole host of emotions, but I'm really doing things relatively similar every day. I get up, look at all my emails. I'm gonna write this in Japanese soon. My daily routine. What does my daily routine look like? I get up, I like do the squat. I can even if I had a useful camera or thing, like if I had like a camera or a dolly or something, right? I would illustrate the maneuver I do. So my bed is on the ground. I literally sleep like, this is coincidence, like the Japanese person in Perfect Days. I have a trifold foam pad. It's like a futon, but it's like the Western version, like the memory foam tri-block. So I basically sleep on the ground, and I can illustrate the maneuver I do. I would like turn my cover over, like my blanket, and I would like get up in an L sit, like into an L, and I would rotate, and I would squat up right into my chair, and then I would hit the power button and check my emails. I check my emails, I look at the stock market or investments. I look at investments. Then I go on Discord, look at my Discord, and then I check my YouTube channel for any comments, right? Then I sit there, look at the top splash page of YouTube, click on 2 different videos, look at them, and then I grab my secondary phone, right? And I look at the time from yesterday. I log my time from yesterday. Then I go change and I go outside and run. Then I come back and then I check on my Discord again to see if anything. And then I set up stream for the day. And then now I'm here. You actually prefer sleeping lower to the floor, but you have a enormous bed frame and don't want to dismantle it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I sleep on the ground. Like, when I saw this guy who lived such a simple life, like, Perfect Days was fantastic. Like, it was such a minimalistic lifestyle. Yes, for the record, I consider you can be minimalistic while owning, quote unquote, while engaging in a lot of things. So this person actually did the full 9 yards. They are disconnected with the internet. Actually, I had so many thoughts about it. For me, I don't own a lot of things in my life. In fact, if the house burned down now, right? Like, if everything burned down, knock on wood, right? Hypothetically, if I lose everything I own now, the vast majority of my wealth and like assets or quality of things are not on me. Like, what I mean is, outside of my actual literal life, the things I own are not material goods. So whenever I think about a bed, do you have a floor? Like, for example, if I visit one of my friends, their friend's house, right? Actually, one of my best friends, they barely have furniture in their living room, and that reminds me of my living room. For 7 years in grad school, I didn't have any furniture. I had Amazon boxes where I only take out the Amazon boxes when I need to fetch something from an archive, and then I put it back. So it's always a stack of the same Amazon boxes. And if I need to sleep, I would ask my friend, do you have floor space? Because I would just sleep on the floor. Like, give me a blanket, or I would bring a blanket. I actually bring a sleeping bag a lot of times, do like the old style where pull out a sleeping bag. And nowadays you can buy a trifold foam pad and just stick it in the back of your trunk and get going, right? That's the movie spoke to me in many ways, where you can still, like, I'm not gonna, like, there's not much to spoil because it's about a person's average life, but one thing is very appreciative is people go through emotions regardless of how austere their life is, however simple their life is. They go ups and downs, but it's the idea that overall you have an appreciation for the pace of your own life over all those emotions. And the performance the guy gave was amazing. It was short of amazing. You see him smile, you see him talk, smile with his eyes, cry, intrigue. It was a fantastic movie. I think not Tom totally knew. We were meeting eye to eye because we were talking about mundane life and modern life movies, and he's like, oh, if you like that, you'll like this. And like, yeah, nailed it. Oh, anyways, that's a digression. But yeah, all that happened in the last 2 days. So anyways, we got to refocus on this. Now, what started all of this? Something happened in WaniKani that I think a substantial minority, like a notable loud minority, get really angry about. Like they get miffed over time about. And my thought was, I see it. It does happen. At least it happened to me today, which we'll see how we adjust to it in the future. I imagine this stuff is gonna happen more frequently as our volume. All right. So, anyways, we do. With all that said, we still have to go over. Looking at some shots from the movie, it looks beautiful. The cinematography makes austere life in Japan so romantic, and that's fantastic. I like those romanticisms, and I think there was another person. I think 3 days ago, yes, 3 days ago, they talked about the work culture and like happenstance. And my thought, I made this comment very briefly, like this requires context, but the context was talking about the potential work culture being sucky, like being an office worker would be sucky. And my thought was, I'm not born Japanese. It may be a different lifetime, but if someone knows me from my younger time, I would be one of those weirdos that would love his office job. And this movie illustrates the Eastern culture that instills in a lot of people who are not raised on Western culture. When I think of people working day in, day out really hard at an office job, I think of myself. Like, I'm that guy that if you ask me to do something and I'm responsible for it, I'll do my best with it and try to find as many things to appreciate about it and all the things that it comes with in the larger scheme of things. There is joy to helping someone walk to work every day. There is wonderful redeemable quality in picking up trash for someone. Like, that's what I enjoyed quite a lot about the message in that movie. You go through life with lots of emotional things, but there is an aspect of being alive in the moment that can elevate. I'm not saying you can be like entirely happy or self-satisfied, not stressed. The movie entirely actually suggested that. But this person tried every possible waking moment to elevate their circumstances and still find austerity, like life, the simplicity of life, incredibly beautiful. I don't want to spoil anything yet, like the small details. It's really the small details, not the large generalization. Like, you can summarize the movie in one sentence. Like, if you're focused on like generalizing, like, oh, it's a movie about someone's regular life. That's it. But how it goes about it is amazing. And there's one detail that illustrates exactly what I'm doing today. Like, this very video represents what that guy does in various ways. And I also do various things that that guy doesn't. But that guy's routine is a representation of what I do. No one's telling me to go out and run every day. And this guy does other things. This guy does other routines to maintain. It's so beautiful. It's a wonderful, beautiful. That's why it's, in my opinion, long story short, that's why I think it's called Perfect Days. Because days are not perfect. Each and every day is not perfect. But it can be perfect. So what does that mean? Is a perfect day inherently not perfect? Today, I found that it was a perfect time to talk about what happened yesterday. For example, to be a middle-aged Japanese man who lived in the countryside, how intimate. I don't want to break this to you, Jack, but that is a middle-aged man in the middle of Tokyo. And his job is in the middle of metropolitan Tokyo. So he's stuck in the countryside. I'm sorry, Jack. but he's actually living an austere life in the middle of Tokyo. Like it's to contrast the fun thing is he's living a simple life and yet he's slapped dead in the middle of Tokyo. So I'm sorry about that. I just had to raise it. You'll find out like 3 seconds in. You'll find out. Oh, you were kind of referencing how people romanticize Japan. Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were referring to the movie, because the movie can give you that impression too. But what I mean is, you can be on the internet, right? For example, you can literally feel like you're slap dead in politics, religion, spiritualism, 4chan, TikTok. But you can do all of that slap dead in the middle and still have control over your life, appreciation for the smaller moments, breathe, feeling in like small and large at the same time. And I love the little details. There's so many little details in Perfect Days. I'm looking forward to talking to Tom about the movie. So I think the runtime was like 2.5. Oh, it's so good. Sorry. Okay, the more you think about it, you get more amazed by life and you start to understand that the micro things seem to make the most impact for you, at least, rather than the macro side of things. I'm getting older, Jack. You're old. You're a middle-aged man already, without being a middle-aged man, literally. I don't think you're a middle-aged man. I mean, I don't consider myself a biologically middle-aged man yet, but I imagine you're not magically 40 plus at the moment. There's something great to being old mentally, or older. You were kind of, yeah. So, that was a general response. Sorry, my thought process was a little bit out of sync because I wanted to emphasize that this guy is amazing because he does something in the hustle bustle of Metropolis, which that was a great, the way the film was staged for the Japanese lifestyle illustrates the tranquility. You're a 50-year-old Japanese man stuck in 90-year-old body dress. Yeah, like these moments are the moments I want to capture. And I have a new movie to suggest now, thanks to not Tom Nook. Like, you want to know what it's like and why I'm doing all this? Why am I using WaniKani? Why am I using Duolingo? Why am I learning a language? Perfect Days. Or if you like anime, Frien is a good one. I think Frien sums up a lot of things. It's the journey that matters. But Perfect Days does it in 2 hours, and it's live action, so it's a little different. It offers a little bit of a different sensation. What about a book? Hold up. A book? The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. That represents a lot of my daily life, as in an aspect of me that can be really, if you want to overanalyze something, John Green's Anthropocene Reviewed. Basically, if I go out on a run and I see a patch of grass, and then I spend the next 3 hours thinking about the implications of that patch of grass, John Green's The Anthropocene Reviewed. Very excellent way of demonstrating surrogately what my life is like. But that's besides the point. I gotta collect more of this stuff. I need to find music. I need to redefine some stuff so I can make a reference to things. Like when someone asks me, "Oh, you know, when people ask, what's your favorite thing?" It's kind of like asking, what is something that captures me instead, because I can answer that question a little bit better than inferring what my favorite thing is a representation of myself. So if in the future, I'm going to try to make an attempt to do that, where I'm going to say the short answer is, what's my favorite thing? Jack, I know you asked this from time to time. You ask, oh yeah, what's your favorite game? The most recent game I played. And in order to illustrate that, Perfect Days. Perfect Days is one of the things. Like I now I still can name a lot of other things for what they are, but the thing that I remember the best, because I try to make each day the best possible, is probably the most recent thing. So if I go backwards, if I travel backwards, it's the thing that I've invested most of my like heart into, because it's very hard to remember emotions back then. But I can remember the facts about them. So if someone said, what is your favorite movie of 2022? I could say things like, I think my favorite movie was the same movie as the picture of the year in 2022. So then I go back and look for the picture of the year in 2022, and I think about all the events that happened, and then I can try to recall the emotions involved. However, it pales into comparison to the things I choose to do now. So whenever someone asks me about entertainment, it's right now. It's the thing, because everything I know that I enjoyed is trying to happen at the same time. When I play a video game, I bring all the joy that I have still remaining in all the video games I played into this video game. I want to make today the best time I can. Now, it still sucks, of course, if the game disappoints, right? It still sucks when things go down, but the thing is, it usually doesn't end up sucking because I'm making active decisions with my life. Like, no one is telling me that, hey, you have to go play a sucky game because I'm paying you to play a sucky game. Like, if I get a choice to choose it, to choose what I want to do, which is stream, like the things I share on stream, I don't choose to suck. Like, what I mean is, I could suck at the task, but I don't choose the things that would have a chance to make me miserable. It's kind of weird that way. I know other people do that in a different way. They believe that when they're practicing and trying hard, that it has to suck in order to reach their goal. So when they see the process as sucking, like sucking not in terms of whether it's hard or easy, just overall emotionally sucky, but it's necessary in order for them to get to the reward at the end of the rainbow, I find that admirable. It requires discipline, right? That's fair. And for myself, no one's forcing me to do any of this stuff. So if I had to choose something, it rarely ever comes out as suck, because I live in the moment. It's a combination of everything I know. The likelihood of me choosing something that will suck in the end is very, very unlikely, because I focus on all the things before me. So my decisions become more and more consistent. Now, it's not to say that there aren't sucky moments in those decisions, but overall, it's astronomically unlikely that I would choose something, and at the end of the day, I'm going to say, I wish I didn't use up my time for this. Now, in the future, if someone were to hire me professionally to do something, or I turn professional and offered my wisdom or knowledge or whatever I have to offer professionally as a paid obligation, then yes, that can suck. Like, wholeheartedly. And my skills are the ability to make it less suck. If it does suck. If it doesn't suck, that's easy cruising. So I just take my wins. I take my W when I'm working and suddenly the work is what I want to do. I take that W. I milk it, I greed it, I iterate on it. And then because that is for the times that it's going to suck. Right? Like someone's going to say, "Oh yeah, I want you to make a soulless game with a character that you're going to spend many hours making, but all I want you to do is animate the character with no impressions, no emotes." That could suck for me. Like I want the characters to emote and all that stuff, but I do it because up to that point, I have a culmination of everything that I've set up for to prepare for this moment. I will learn to like it, work around it, maybe sneak in something, maybe even kind of like strong arm my boss is saying, can I make the character like walk a little funky? Is that okay? Like, because I guess if you don't want to spend money on emoting and stuff, maybe we'll just give the character like a really weird strut or something, you know? Or occasionally like make him strut differently in different environments. That'd give it a little spice and right? That type of thing. So everything in the moment, even for work. The way I sound like a broken record, but when you watch Perfect Days, that person consistently give it their all, regardless if it makes them cry and whatnot. And yeah, that can seem like discipline, but he is also trying his best to be as greedy as possible to appreciate what he finds beautiful. And I can't wait to have more people watch the movie where I can point out the little details, like the thing I'm talking about that highlights everything I've done in the last year and a half, that I started in the last year and a half, was summarized in 10 seconds. I think that scene, it took him 10 seconds to do it, and it's gone. It's never shown again. That the little specific detail is never shown again in the entire 2-hour run, and illustrates exactly why I'm streaming this. Not what other people think I'm doing this for, or a vast majority of people who think it's not for clout. But clout is welcome. I feed me all the clout that you have spared. If someone says like, "Oh, you know, I love watching this guy, but here's a like," thank you, I appreciate it. Just click on that like. I'm okay with it. Like, it's free, it doesn't cost you much. Click on the like. It's great. I'm not gonna tell you to do it. Well, I actually kind of did, but it's good enough for me. Like, I'll take scraps where scraps are because I don't need it, but I welcome it. I appreciate all the little things, all the little micro gestures. If you want someone to say hi to you every single day before you start your day, I'm here. Say hi and I'll say hi back. Good luck with work. Good luck with school. I'll see you tomorrow. And then if you walk by again, I'll say hello again. Hello, going to work? And then one day, 9 months down the road, someone's, that person say, hello, hey, you going to work? And they're like, no, I just got fired. Like, you want to talk about it? And I'm here every day. Or like, oh, I just got promoted, now I don't work there. It's like, that's great. Good luck with wherever you have to go now. Like, routine, spots, perfect days. Anyways, that movie pandered to me. It's really pandering. All right, so let's go on with our day. Right, this is our day. I like the YouTube stream, even though you watch on Twitch just for, oh well, thank you, I appreciate it. Again, Appreciate it. Right. You like the you clicked the like. Well, thank you, Jack. I appreciate it. Maybe one day I will find more clever ways to say like, oh, you know what? It's perfectly free. You know, takes a second. Just click on that. Or, what's a fun way to do this? Some YouTubers do this, and I kind of like it, but I don't have enough material. Like, my materials sound the same, and it's supposed to sound very similar across the board. Someone does something, right? They do something like a magician. I like watching magicians do their like act, the 5, I guess it's now a minute and a half act, and they're like, oh, so if you're amazed, I imagine that at least deserves a like and a subscribe. See you next time. And I really enjoy those. Like the stream to ace all your reviews 100% real. Yeah. They do something, like at least that deserves a like, right? If this put a smile on your face, at least it deserves a like. If this puts a frown on your face, at least it deserves a dislike. And you might be thinking, wait, what are you talking about? Why would you suggest people express their dislike? Well, it's a foregone conclusion on YouTube that whether you like or dislike, it's more lack of engagement that YouTube is based on, not whether someone likes or dislikes your content. That's still engagement. So it's interesting. And if you're wondering, Jack, have I gotten dislikes since dislikes are not displayed? Yes, quite a lot of them, but only on very very specific content, and it is almost unanimous. 99.9%. I know something that I do because I enjoy doing it, that people don't like hearing what I have to say or show about it. 99.9% of the dislikes come from a very specific thing, and that's the wonders of analytics. I don't have to look for it. I can see it in the data. And does it matter as much, or does it hurt me? No, because I can explain it. That's probably the whole topic of today. There's something really beautiful about, or helpful for one's mental health and emotional state when they understand the realities. Like, they're able to explain why it occurred, why and how it occurs. Oh, hello there, Bill. Oh, you changed your avatar again today. Sorry you didn't return to your stream even though you said you would. Oh, no worries. You got really busy? I'm glad to hear you got really busy. It was a good busy, right, Bill? Do you remember what you had for dinner yesterday? What's on your mind now? Like, you mind if I ask you what is it that you were busy with, Bill? Sorry, I'm chatting it up with Jack a little bit today. I started with a rant about a movie. In fact, Bill, have you seen a movie called Perfect Days? I sound like a broken record now. I'm a walking billboard for Perfect Days. But if you have time, there's this movie called Perfect Days. It has some Japanese in it. Like, it is in Japanese, but the dialogue is very minimum. But this movie is pretty fantastic. It's about someone's daily life. That's it. I can daily life. That's it. It's this person's daily life in the middle of Tokyo. If that sounds very, very dull and mundane, I hope it makes it interesting why I'm bringing it up. Anyways, if you had time, but we were talking about this to catch you up. The last thing we were talking about was this movie. You were just talking and having a good time with your family for the rest of the night? Aw, what do you usually... Is there anything you particularly like to talk about with your family, Bill? Alright, Naka's a bill, but you're gonna go on a run now. Thanks for chatting, and we'll watch Perfect Days later today or tomorrow. Alright, alright. Good luck on your run, Jack. Good luck on your run. And also, when you watch it, we gotta talk about it a little bit, you know? Make it a part of our life's experience. So I look forward to hearing what you think. You don't have to like watch it right away or tomorrow. You know, like no pressure. But eventually, because I'll probably bring it up a couple more times. All right. Yeah. Good luck with your run. Okay. So now we really. How's your German going, Bill? The subliminal pressure. Yes. The subliminal pressure. You know me, I like bringing up things that I enjoy. And then take it or leave it. You might hear it several times openly, not directed at anyone. Just simply out of sheer interest. Okay. Alright. So we do have to cover three things. Three things yesterday. More like two things. We like to talk about how we're feeling about our lives, but usually you just joke and laugh with them. Oh. So you do like talking about how about feeling about about your lives. Interesting. Do you prefer to just joke, or do you actually want to talk about feelings about your lives? Because I think that can be very important, or maybe useful, to know who you can talk to about your feelings about your lives, right? Like a close friend or a very particular family member, especially as one continues to transition into adulthood, right? Like you're gonna have other things, going to college, or transitioning to a full-time, studying abroad, that type of stuff. Having the opportunity to be able to do that removes the need, in my opinion, or the skills needing to develop that in the future. Because we already talked about studying abroad, so being able to recreate that trust when you're abroad means also getting an awesome friend abroad in the future, right? Or making an internet friend, right? Turning an internet friend into the less likely of friends to become friends situation. I'm grateful for two goobers keeping me on my feet nowadays. There's like a 20-year gap between us, but at the same time, stuck it out. No, we know each other for more than 5 years. And I have to say, I don't use any of the vocabulary that I use on stream. So we've already started developing a familect. If you're not, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this concept, or like this term for the concept, but a familect is when you're talking, this is relevant to what you shared with me. When you're talking to your family, right, and your family members, the people that are close, you have a very specific way of talking, and it might literally be a different turn of phrase in language. And having that is great, even with friends. So oftentimes when I'm trying to like pigeonhole language learning into this, but when you have a familect, it also applies to friends. So oftentimes when friends begin to naturally develop their own dialect, that's the combination, it's family and dialect put together, it's a great, wonderful behavioral indicator that you have someone you can trust. Potentially, it's not guaranteed, but those people are more likely the individuals that will stay with you your life, and they're worth, in my opinion, they're often worth the investment. Especially when one grows older, things can go up and down and you need motivation. You just hit up hit up your family, friends, right? Sometimes these two things are the same, family and friends. Or at least I feel like. You think it depends on the mood? For example, you had a pretty bad day today, so you would probably prefer joking around right now. Oh, okay. Give me a joke. Give me a joke about your bad day today. I'm kind of curious what the joke is about. I have less stellar days, maybe. I talked about it actually. I spent the first hour and a half today talking about the less than ideal day I had yesterday. So, and then today my day only recently started. Oh, but I can tell you about the hash brown chicken egg hash brown sandwich that I had that I ate with a fork. Long story short, my sister was home for another day or two, and she's now heading back to Japan. She likes to eat novelty foods. So whenever my sister is home, my family, my parents and her would go out because my parents like to indulge wherever she wants to go, and they went out to eat like novelty foods, whatever is around. And she's a very well-traveled person, so they're trying this new cuisine. I think it's some sort of actually like Sonic like service or something, that by the way my father described it, but my parents don't usually eat this stuff. So I was eating it and I'm like, huh, that's like a chicken and waffles, only they replaced the waffles with hash browns. I don't know if you had a chicken and waffle, but it's like a waffle, big slab of chicken, like fried chicken, and then it's usually open face. But just imagine the waffle is a huge hash brown, just a fried chicken breast, and then another hash brown on top. And I think in between there was also like an egg, like a sunny side egg. So there's just a sandwich, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is different. And immediately I thought about my sister. So not quite a bad day, but I was trying to share something punctuating my day that is different from my normal day. So it's a great appreciation for that. And then my sister is already gone, so me and my sister has this more of a, we see each other, we acknowledge that each other exists, and that's good enough for both of us. I have like a flip schedule with my sister, so she came and gone, she came back, hung out with her friends, went on a cruise for a week, came back for a day or two, and now she's back off to Japan. You could go for something like that right about now. It's almost dinner time, right, Bill? Wait, I've gotten already into the whole like rhythm of things. Yeah, dinner is soon. What are you gonna have for dinner today? Do you have a choice in the matter? Like, are you the dinner chooser? I typically, if someone's feeding me, I eat what I'm fed. So if my parents are doing the cooking, I inhale whatever they eat or whatever they serve, because as much as studious as I like to be on cooking and stuff, it's rather difficult to cook while doing this. Your aunt is cooking something and you always eat whatever she makes. Oh, does your aunt ever like tease or spoil the cooking? Like, hey, today we're gonna have, and then she would kind of like tease it for later. I always think if I'm in charge of the kitchen, I go around like making a production out of the cooking. Not in like a, oh, I hate cooking kind of way, but more like, hey, I'm doing some cooking. What do you guys want? Should I go to the store and buy some avocados or something of that nature? All right, I mentioned avocados because I'm thinking of California. Okay, so let me do. It was do was the thing. that was stuck yesterday, right? Is it the white? So we have sendo. No, is do. Not really, but that would be funny. Yeah, I'm like, hey guys, I would intentionally troll a little maybe if I had roommates nowadays. Like, okay, so it's my turn to do the food, and I would throw in some trolly things. I'm like, hey guys, what do you think of Doritos and mayonnaise? I'm like, okay, I guess no one's for Doritos and mayonnaise. How about asparagus and some fried calamari? And then it'd be like, it ends up being, I don't know, mac and cheese and some brisket or something. I don't know. It would be something very normal, but I would probably make it a production just because it would lighten, maybe if I don't have to cook all the time, I would make it a big deal, like a deal that is a treat for people, because I don't cook very often, or I don't have the opportunity to cook very often, largely because of how my life is situated right now. Anyways, make it fun, make it exciting. Let me know what you end up eating. I'm always all up in people's business when it comes to their eating habits. Okay, so this is do. We have sendu. Well, honestly, Doritos and mayo doesn't sound even bad. That doesn't sound that bad. You're probably just super hungry. That's fair. That's fair. Well, you're doing a shopping list, right? You're going out. It's like, hey guys, I have to make dinner today. I'm gonna go grab some wasabi. I'm gonna go grab some wasabi, some paprika, and some Szechuan peppercorns. Do you guys need anything? And just to be like a little bit trolly, and they're like, wait, why do you need to buy those things? Like, oh, I'm making dinner, so I might as well go grab some ingredients. Like, maybe some Brussels sprouts and some spinach, and maybe throw in some hot dogs. Do you guys want anything from the grocery store? Like, what did those things have in common in a dish? Like, nah, I was just talking, while we're eating. It's like, wait, I don't taste any of this in there. Oh, I was just buying ingredients. It's not like I was gonna use it for dinner. I think I've become progressively more trolly over the years. As I grow older, I'm a lot more trollier. Not in the sense of like trolly to harm people, but it's it can be very fun to bring humor every day nowadays. The older you get, I feel that the older I've gotten, the more likely that I like to sprinkle humor into everything I do. So sendu, or no, sendo, do, do, and then this was pivoted to do, do something, doji, yeah, doji. Which, so this was what? Railroad. This here was the dirt road or alley. Then we have a pivot here. Do? Yeah. Do, do. uh paved road. And then last was it was Prime Minister? No. It was hearing for the first time. Sho? No. It's Hatsumimi. Hatsumimi. Heard for the first time. Always nice to watch your stream when you're feeling down, MAKU. Thank you. Thanks for always being here and talking to me. Sometimes you really need it, like today. Oh, well, that's great. You still haven't hit me with a funny joke. I'm kind of curious. What are your jokes like? Give me a way in which you joke about, unless it's unless it's not the great, not in the vibe of things at the moment. But I'm kind of curious. So I would be more alert as to one day I would be able to tell when you're having a bad day or a good day based on your comments, right? That would be a wonderful way to cut through the cheese, if you will. So, like, what type of jokes are we talking about? I am very familiar with other types of individuals that, well, when it's like they would say, well, my life kind of sucks, but at least I have ice cream now, that kind of thing, right? Or, well, everything is falling apart, but I had some good fried chicken today, or something like that. I had some bussin' fried chicken today, that kind of thing. That's the kind of like the joke example. All right. Well, let's get into our singular lesson. I already went through why there's a singular lesson here, even without doing anything. So that was a spark of today's rant. So let's look at what the lesson is. Showdown. Versus and decide. Was this old? What would I say if I said versus and maybe like a match? Opposition? Oh, it's probably opposition before. Maybe not. This probably got reset. This definition probably changed. I'm sorry for you don't understand what you mean. Oh, you mentioned when you have a pretty bad day today, you would prefer joking about around right now. What does that how do you go about joking around? Like do you focus on what other people say and then you like try to make a joke about it? Is that how it goes? Like you prefer to surround yourself with humor when you're having a bad day, right? So I'm not a very funny person. Well, I guess saying that could be funny in itself. Like what do I have for funny? I got one, I think. I think I remember how this dad joke goes. What do you call a moose that doesn't have a name? What do you call a moose that you meet that you don't know the name of? Oh, you usually like make inside jokes with your siblings. Sometimes they're just nonsensical and make us laugh. Oh, okay. So you're telling me you engage in the terrifying zoomer humor that I get catatonic about when someone shows me it. You know, like that stuff where someone I'm obviously kidding here, but I can't tell you how many times the zoomer goobers that I have, they would show me something and I watch like this 35-second clip of something and I think to myself, what is going on in your head? It'd be something like a shrimp video with weird noise, and there's these shrimp music videos, like it's a digital shrimp and it's like blowing a like trumpet or something, and I would listen to it for the 45 seconds and my only thought is, you listen to this? That's and like, what do you mean it's jamming? And I'm like, oh, all right, I guess I'm gonna jam along next time. So one day I'm just waiting, someone's like, oh man, I'm having a bad day, I just link that video, you know, 45 seconds of digital shrimp sounds with a trumpet. Yep. The dad joke, by the way, what do you call a moose? What do you call a moose that you don't know the name of, or like when you bump into a moose and you don't know their name? I don't remember the follow-up though. It was something about a moose as well, but I don't remember the other type of moose. But this moose I do remember. Well, a moose that, you know, a moose that you don't know the name of, it's a nanamoose. A nunamoose. That's not that great, but it was supposed to be a dad joke. Anonymous. You know? Anonymous. Waka waka waka. I'm really terrible with executing dad jokes. You can definitely tell that I don't do it very often. But most of the puns that I do are by coincidence. Like someone would point out that I made a pun, and then I would be like, "Oh, hey, that's great. Very intentional. Yes, I knew what I was doing." That's me in humor. All right. So when it's, oh, it is confrontation. So I think this thing got changed. The primary meaning got changed. Pretty sure. That's why this lesson is here. When it's you versus someone else to decide it all, you know this is a showdown. It's a decisive confrontation. Okay. What is this? Tai Getsu? The way you delivered that made you smile? Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Oh, there you go. I think if I had a brand, if I had a brand of comedy, I would deliver it in the comedy would be to deliberately miss time and inappropriately deliver punchlines. That would probably be my brand of comedy. It's kind of like it's what the kids do these days, right? They meta the meta, right? Right? Am I right? Like, oh, that's not funny. It's like, oh, that's awkward. I was like, oh man, that's so cringe. It's cool. And I'm like, all right, I got you. I got you. You want so cringe that it's cool? I got you. Just watch me drop bussin' every once in a while, you know? Or dear me, if I drop a skippity toilet anywhere, whew, that's when you get the cringe smile. But it's so cringe, it's funny kind of situation. I only talk about skippity toilet when I'm serious, like right now. If that makes you smile, it's perfectly fine. It's my normal reaction. However, if I had children, right, and they do be talking like that all the time, I would totally be that one father who would go through a drive-through and randomly talk in uh, Gen Z slang just so my kids could cringe and like melt into the seat and hide away. I would totally be that person. Absolutely. Also ordering what they want from the drive-through, obviously, but still. You know? You feel me? You feel me? Your parents do that? That sounds like your parents are awesome. Sounds like it's all, you know, it's fair fun. And you know, I expect my I here's the funny part. Think about it this way. What are the kids going to do, right? It's like, oh, okay, now your kids are going to come back and sound like boomers. Isn't that just sounding like an adult? You know what I mean? Like, what are they going to do? They're going to come back and lay a dad joke into my face, and I'm going to be like, nice, you know, high five. And they're like, this doesn't work. I'm like, yep, exactly. Exactly. What happens when your parents like dad jokes and they like Zoomer humor? Checkmate. But at least you can rely on your parents to joke and have humor for the sake of having humor, in case you're down, of course. All right. So, what do we set on this? Taiketsu. Yeah? Yeah? Taiketsu is when two sides go head to head in a serious match or showdown. Think rivals facing off in a big game or the final battle in an anime. Oh. It's tense and dramatic, but also exciting. Like, alright, this is it. Time to settle things. Who's gonna come out on top? It's the power of friendship. Believe in me that believes in you, that believes in me, that believes in you. What's the saddest song I know, or do you not get really emotional listening to music? Here's a funny thing. Bill. I feel this is gonna be true. Maybe. When people are incredibly emotionally stable, like people who show up in public and they're very emotionally stable, or they appear very emotionally stable, they typically, when you ask them what they do when they watch certain things, it's probably the most devastating things you'll probably encounter. Largely because, and hear me out, it might be a cause and effect thing. People who are very emotionally stable require possibly to engage in very emotional things in order to sometimes feel things. And I kind of belong to that group. So probably the saddest songs, like which song, what should we talk about? Like what type of sadness do you want? Do you want like a death in the family sad? Or an accident sad? Or just I'm depressed sad? Or do you want a happy sounding song but the lyric is absolutely depressing? You know, that kind of thing. I listen to a lot of exploratory emotional things. So, but if I were saying we're gonna use recency, what is the saddest song recently that someone else and I talked about? Someone said that they really felt. Oh, I got one. Did you watch people say, something that makes you cry? You guess it could be tears of joy or sadness. How about Bleeding Heart? I'll give you a Bleeding Heart song. I need to find it. Give me a sec. Because I don't know the name of it. Oh, I do know the name of it. So, it's kind of a song. It's more like an aria. It's from Clair Obscur. And if you don't plan on playing the game, or maybe you have not seen it. It's part of the intro of the game. So it's like the first 20 minutes of the game. It's the pivotal scene. The piece is called Lost Voice. Lost Voice, it's track 68 from the original soundtrack of Clear Obscure Expedition 33. You can try listening to the track and imagine what scene it is, but it's a combination of what's happening in the scene and the song. And I watched a montage of many people reaction to when they reach this scene. And when I was playing the game, my heart was bleeding like crazy. Like I was tearing up inside. I'm not very incredibly explosive on the outside, but it was much like everyone else. Lots of people were tearing up in the first 15 to 20 minutes of Clear Obscure, and Lost Voice was playing in this scene. It's 2 minutes and 34 seconds. So if you listen to it, imagine something and tell me if you feel sadness or not, or joy even. But it's an aria, so it's kind of like an aria. Basically, how I describe arias are someone is vocal singing, so it's more like an opera. It's an operatic singing, if that's even a word, but like long chants. There aren't actually lyrics per se. Actually, it might be French. It could be a French word in there, because a lot of the tracks in Clair Obscur features French, so I'm not entirely sure if there's a French word in there, right? But really sad. And if you play the first 30 minutes or like however long you want to mess around in the beginning, but the first section of the game before the title drop, this song is probably going to elicit I want to stop the game to catch my breath situation. That's this song. So that's the most recent one, and probably easily one of the most saddest one, I would say, universally. In today, in this very moment, 2025, if you're a gamer and you picked up Clear Obscure Expedition 33, this song will do it. Now, it's kind of curious to see what it's like for someone that might not have the scene in their mind, but it is quite sad. It's incredibly emotional. Actually, Clair Obscure's full soundtrack is probably the most emotional thing that I've listened to recently. And to quickly answer this question, I usually when it comes to emotions, I default to the thing that's closest, because it's very hard for me to remember emotions from way back. So the saddest thing is probably all of Clair Obscure. So if you want to see how I feel or something, probably that game. Video game music can hit hard, man. Some developers, composers really know how to pull at your emotions. Yes, this game, without this song, without Lost Voice in this scene, I think it would still be very impactful for what it's showing, but it is transformative, this scene. So if you want to see the scene, it could be effective in the scene. It's like the whole introduction sequence is supposed to make the scene like instantly captivating and sad and demoralizing, and then immediately they actually flip the switch. I'm not spoiling anything per se. Emotionally, you go to like your emotional thing is like, oh hey look. So let's the first 30 minutes of Clair Obscure, right? This is your emotional beacon. It's like, oh hey, that's neat. Oh, this is cool. Oh, this is fun. This is fun. Ugh. And it's like, oh, okay, all right, we're just recovering. We're recovering. Oh, it's great. It's great. Psh, into the ground. That's that's the beginning of the first like 30 minutes of Clear Obscure. You're just like, oh yeah, like, oh, there's some, ooh, this is cute. It's like, wait, I have a sinking suspicion. And this is the part. Sounds like I have a new game to check. And right here, this is when Lost Voice plays. And then you're like, oh, that's cool. And then the main battle theme plays and you go out and then immediately something else. Like, it's like, what? And then you start clawing yourself back and then it's a roller coaster ride. But the first 30 minutes of Clear Obscure, that's how it gets you hooked. It punches you in the face and it's like, ah, don't worry, we'll get some revenge, and it kicks you in the butt again. Again and again and again. The cycle continues to repeat over and over again. It's kind of funny because the game has a motif of cycle as well. It has a cycling motif to it. So if you're someone like me, here's why I think I made a comment about like people who are emotionally stable. I like exploring the depths of sadness, at least through like narration, and movies and whatnot, and then explore the depths of happiness. The idea is one can become very emotionally stable, understanding a lot of aspects of sadness and joy, as opposed to the opposite of what I feel a lot of people think when it comes to emotional stability, and that is to ignore joy and sadness in order to be consistent. So having a fear of joy and a fear of sadness as a way to constantly stay stoic, staying emotionally stable. Alternatively, I think some of the more consistent people, and especially charismatic people, or those individuals who can help other people empathize, are individuals who continue to explore representations of sadness and joy, so that when there is sadness, they can find places of joy in order to normalize themselves again. And then when they feel heavy joy, they can moderate and level their expectations, because in both extremes it can lead to wild swings. So exploring the entire range of emotions when you have time is a great way to help one potentially cope or moderate things. So I can be very joyful and I can be very sad. I can talk about very sad things and very joyful things with an appropriate level of understanding. But generally, my mood typically is, on stream, my mood is typically positive. So when I'm sleeping, I don't know what my mood is. Maybe I'm shouting in night terrors every day. I wouldn't know. Like, I as far as I know, my parents doesn't like randomly come down and say like, why are you screaming in your sleep? So I don't think I have night terrors, but sometimes I feel like I do scream out in my sleep, because not as crazy as it may sound. Sometimes I scream out in my sleep. Maybe it's because I think I'm like an anime character or something. You know, that can happen. Who knows? As far as I know, people said that I don't randomly like shout in Japanese when I'm sleeping. Not yet, anyways. I feel like that would be a really fun little quirk. Imagine having a friend who one of their characteristics is that when they go to sleep, they start speaking in Japanese. That'd be kind of funny. You know? I do dream in Japanese, though. Recently. In fact, I'm a lucid dreamer most of the time, so lucid dreaming happens when you have control over your dream, because you're like you're kind of sleeping, but you're not. And sometimes in the last couple hours of my sleep, I would go through my lessons, but I didn't go to my lessons yet. So like I would dream about what I'm about to do, and then when I go on to do it for the day, I would have deja vu. Because a part of my schedule, like this type of schedule, the reviews and stuff, they're very similar. They're nearly identical each day. So before I'm about to get up, sometimes I have dreams about the things I'm going to do today. And then when I wake up, I literally go and do them, and then I get deja vu through the day. I don't usually state this because it would be a broken record. So of course you have deja vu. You do the same thing for like 4 days in a row, same thing, like you get the same stimulus, but the actions are different, the emotions are different. But seeing Showdown, like I feel like I've seen this before. It's like, well, of course you've seen this before, right? You're reviewing and you're doing lessons, that kind of thing. Yeah, but if you have time, Flare Up Skid is available on consoles, I think. I'm not sponsored by Sandfall, but yeah, that would be funny. You've never had a lucid dream? The last dream you had was so random. In that dream, Taiwan abolishes monarchy. I don't think Taiwan is even a monarchy. Okay, so hear me out. Where did the monarchy part come from, and why Taiwan? Okay, so was it possible that during the day you were reading about a monarchy, but you were also thinking about Taiwan, and it mixed? Like I have dreams like this too, where I would be back in college, right? I've already graduated college. I would be back in college. I would walk in. The same thing happens. I'm late to class. I'm notoriously terrible back in the day. I wasn't very punctual. So I always thank my biochem professor for understanding how I'm always like the last one in class, even though I could be like right next door. I'm always working on something, and it's kind of like a bit at this point. So I walk into class, and suddenly my professor, my biochem professor, suddenly started speaking in Japanese. And I'm like, that's not right. Like that's what happens when you lucid dream. You're like, wait a minute. I'm in biochem class. Why is he talking in Japanese? And then here's the other stuff, right? My classmates are not the actual classmates. According to my memory, they are the classmates that are my coworkers in graduate school. So the things that you think about gets displaced in time and position. So things you're doing gets crossed with things that are out of time and space, right? So time and space then collapses on each other. So what happens is you get memories that coincide with other memories because there's some sort of environmental connection between them. Like learning Japanese is kind of like the classroom. One of a very recognizable person, influential person in my life was my academic advisor in college. And then a lot of the impressionable people I met maybe in graduate school, and then some of my best friends are there, but my best friends were actually there already in the scene because they were literally there in my memory. So then you suddenly wake up and you're like, right, now I gotta sort out my memories again. So I gotta parse my memories. We're like, okay, so yes, my biochem professor does not speak Japanese. He is my biochem professor in undergrad. And those colleagues were in graduate school, not in this scene. So occasionally, lucid dreaming kind of does the thing where you get up and you're like, wait, I gotta orient. What's happening? I didn't. I have lots of dreams where I keep forgetting to do something. As in, like, I keep forgetting to do something for my lab. Like a lab where I have a job to do, right? And I need to do the research and stuff, and I keep forgetting. And no matter what I do, I keep forgetting to do the research, right? And when I get up and I wake up in my bed and I thought to myself, I don't have a job. Like, what I mean is, it's not a bad or a good thing. Is I don't have any of those responsibilities, but it doesn't stop me from dreaming about those responsibilities every day. So I legitimately a lot of times get up disoriented, like somewhat my heart is at a higher rate because I was thinking, oh yeah, I need to get up to do work. Like, I need to research. I need to get something done because I don't want to disappoint my mentors. When I left the nest, because my parents are Chinese parents, and I would do anything to not upset them and always try to do my best to make them proud. That kind of translated to graduate school and college. So whenever someone takes a chance on me, I go to bed at night constantly thinking about how I could disappoint them. So oftentimes I still have these nights. I constantly go to bed and then I would wake up thinking that I have things to do. Like, I need to get them done somehow in my dreams, because it's a lucid dream. You can know, like, well, I don't have these, but it feels so real. So you get up and I get up and I look at the ceiling. I'm like, I'm at home with my folks. It's been a very long time since I've been obligated to do things. And that's kind of an interesting feeling that I get very, very consistently. It's so strange because you didn't even think about Taiwan or any monarchies at all yesterday. Oh, that's interesting. Taiwan and monarchy. Was there any way you knew it was Taiwan? And what kind of monarchy was it? I don't actually even know what Taiwan is. I guess it's a republic. You've been up all day after pulling an all-nighter, so that might have added to the weirdness. That's fair. One time you woke up thinking that RGG made a game about Kiryu as a spy in Siberia. I can actually see that though. Then you were sad that it wasn't real. Yeah. A sober moment when you... But at least we'll... Did you see the new footage of Stranger to Heaven? Or Stranger in Heaven? Stranger Than Heaven? Stranger Than Heaven. They finally gave a title to the name Project Sentry. He's the guy that looks like a combination of Kiryu meets the side of Judgment, really. Yeah, Stranger Than Heaven looks amazing. We'll be playing it, of course. You're excited, looks super interesting, and you love historical settings. Me too. That's a great share. Yeah, you have some wild dreams. No Taiwan or monarchies, huh?
対決
Taiketsu. Yep.
対決
No surprises there.
対決
It's we'll definitely be seeing that. Dinner time? Alright. It was wonderful talking. Obviously, no obligations, right? No obligations. Be merry. Have fun with your family, right? Enjoy the dinner. Keep yourself busy. You know? Kick the old day and look forward to the next day. Or improve your current day, right? Finish the day off strong with a nice dinner with family. Thanks for hanging out. So we'll talk later. All right. All right. Let's see if we find anything new. Okay, let's try to lock in. Jitsu. To Scarecrow. Uh-oh. Not way. It's not way. Maybe it's... Oh no. I just wanted to type me, but I have no idea. Oh. Okay. Fill it out. Fill it out. Grab the words. Grab the sound. It's gone.
Oishii.
Henjin.
Gee. Uh...
Kakomu.
Akomu. What am I looking at? Is it like... What am I looking at? Alright, I'm gonna push this.
Henka.
Think, It's fine. I was thinking of something else. What? Oh. That's a typo.
残業
Dangyo. Dangyo. Wow. Wait. Did this use a kun? I don't think it did. Or did it? I got chaku. Or kyaku. But it's definitely not. No. I feel like my hand,
乗客。
it just lead to jo, so jo kyaku. Just let my mind be free. Let go free.
木材
Mokuzai.
Fugokaku.
Gokaku. Oh, no. Just kidding. Wait. Oh. I mean, same difference. I've been unskilled. Sort of.
残り、
残り。
返事、
返事。
不完全、
完全。Uh-oh. Let it flow, let it flow.
時々、
Okay. Oh no.
重ねる、
重ねる. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, just kidding. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I'm drawing a blank. Wait. I don't know. I feel like for whatever reason. No. I just randomly stuck. It's fine. It'll come back to me.
暗記する、方法、
方法。
丈夫、
丈夫。
見返す、
見返す。
はじめに、
はじめに。Or think? Yeah.
外来、
外来。外来。え？
希望する、
希望する。What?
同期中、
同期中。同期中。同期中。In the middle of time? Like simultaneously? In the middle of 同期中. Same same period of time? Like okay, I guess we're just gonna go. I don't know what they tried to refer to there.
基本的、
基本的. Whoops. That's a double L.
材木、
材木. Okay. Whoops. What? Oh. What? Oh.
見物
見物。
閉める
閉める。あ、oh no. Wait. Nice.
予約
予約。あ、so, hmm. Gut feeling? Let's go with gut feeling. Nope. I'll have to come back to this. Huh.
作家
作家。
固める
固め。
松葉
待つ。What? Oh. What? Oh. Wait. Ooh, did I mess up?
行列
行列。Right.
事変
いい変。あ。I missed the E. Oh. What? Oh. That's fine.
日本的
日本的。
卒業式
卒業 式。式。Okay.
福島
Fukushima. No. Yes, no.
竹
Okay. Uh
好む
Onomu. Oh. Um Gut feeling? Gut feeling failed. Okay. Oh, okay.
Henshi
Inch. Hmm. Uh-oh.
Hazusu.
Azusu.
Funiki
Funiki.
Shoujiru
Sojiru.
Joba
Oba. Okay. I wasn't so sure about that
妥
one.
協する。
Dakyosu.
Machiai shitsu
Machiai shitsu.
赤。
Akka.
Teki
Eki.
Oreru
Oreru. Oh no. Not this one. Jang, right? Jang, which is entire. That's a problem one for Chinese. And then what are you? You are a range. And how does that work? I thought I had it. Wait. What did I type the first time? That was a typo, but I don't know what I messed up the first time. Totoeru. Hmm. Excuse me? Oh.
文法
Boompo. Oh.
不法 練習する
練習する
頑丈
Ganjo. Oh, I had a problem with this too, right? Still have a problem with this to some extent. We'll come back.
井戸
Ito.
折り紙
Origami. Not that. How does this work? Not that. Chinese is too powerful. What is the right thing? It's supposed to be winter, right?
Yubiwa
Yubiwa. What? Oh, what is, wait. Oh,
意図的
itoteki.
残す
Osu.
待つ
Matsu.
食べ放題
Tabehodai. Excuse me.
美術館
Ijutsukan. Hmm? Wait. Oh, oh. What?
人殺し
Dokoroshi.
放つ
Anotsu. Mm. Uh.
手軽
Tengaru. It's the only own right now. And what was it? What was it? I want to say it's like... Dang. Oh, I know this one. It's supposed to be special. Oh, it's
取材
is I and I. uh
近代的
近代的はね modern. That took a bit. I think I typed connected twice. One is like more related and the other is connected. It's close enough.
Wagomu
Magomu.
Ryōrinin
Ryōrinin. That's not how you spell boulder.
大変
大変
苦しむ
苦しむ Oops.
約束する
約束する
自動的
自動的 Ah, ah, no.
芸術家、
芸術家。
卒業する、
卒業する。Okay.
仏像、
仏像。ああ。
返す、
返す。What?
残念、
残念。残念。What is that? Is that a lip ring? Wait. Oh. No. I mean, it's not a voice recorder, so what is that? Ooh, with the mouth in it. I don't remember you. What what is you? What's happening? Is it I don't let's come back to that. It's throwing off my groove.
残る、
Nokoru.
自動車、
自動車。うん。
問い合わせる、
問い合わせる。Oh.
変、
And oh. Sure. Hmm. Hmm.
首相、
首相。
目的、
目的。Okay. Still going strong, sort of. Oops. What is this? Okay.
記念日、
記念日。Something changed about this. Or oh no, I don't. Oh, it's not coming to me right away. I'm gonna gut feeling. Nope. Oh, okay.
天井、
天井. Man, gut feelings don't really pay off that. I'm still running like 90% gut feel. Uh-oh. I don't think so, right? Unless? No. Oh, I got it.
相手
Naite. That was much less time. We invested.
技術
Ijutsu.
支払い
Chiharai. That overlaps with Duolingo, actually, by coincidence.
売り切れ
Urikire. Urikire. Sell. Urikire. Ire. Cut the selling because we sold out.
勇気
Yuki.
変
And Wap wap.
約束
Yasoku.
変える
Kaeru. This is not what I think it is. It's
捨て
stit or yeah. It's not that. It's not it. No. Oh, wait. Yeah. Okay.
折り目
Orime. What? Oh. What? Hold. Did they went straight? No, they didn't. Oh, that's fine. That's kidding. Kidding.
降りる
Oriru.
気持ちいい
Kimochi. Kimochi. Oh, hmm.
殺人者
Atsudinsha.
飲み放題
Nomihodai. Alright, now we're back to this again. So. Suitable fingers. Oh, excuse me. suitable finger. I have 6 for today. Is suitable fingers a problem? Oh, wait. I almost had it. Yes. Let's pick up. And what is pick up? Just pick up. Definitely Hiru, right? It's Hiru, but I don't remember what the... If I get lost, what's the mnemonic for Hiru? I think it's Hiru. Oh, it's not? Oh. Just kidding. Hiro. It's Hiro. But why is it Hiro? Oh, because you... Hold up. Yeah, it is pick up. Is it like dealing with a hero or something? No. He picked up a sword and a rock because he felt like a hero. This one's okay. Because... Oh yeah, Hiro is the only thing we have. Okay, that's fine. Still drawing a blank on this. How? How? This is one of those mental blocks that kind of they kind of trigger me a bit because it's one of those things like it happens every once in a while. It's hey, right?
閉店
Hate it. And then what happened here? Like what? Oh wait. No. no. I think that's... Is it? No. Oh. Thinking. And gut feeling? Oh.
気づく
Izuku. I totally didn't type the rendaku. And this was an interpretation problem. And I had this problem earlier too. Like we're doing stubborn but sturdy. Or not studi. Sturdy. And what happened here? It's not a voice recorder. What is it? It's a mouth with a slide. That's supposed to be a cape. Is this supposed to be retroactive? It looks like a lip ring, but it's not a lip ring. And there's something about a slide and a mouth. What are you? Is this supposed to be like... There's no prison is... Oh, this is a prison in a mouth. So what? Yeah, this is prison in mouth, right? This prison mouth. A vault? A prisoner? No way. Ain't no way, right? Can't be prisoner. Okay. A mouth in prison. Oh, is this Oh no, wait. That's the water drop thing. I know what pool is. What the heck, man? I usually don't get stumped on components. Components require very direct parts. I guess if you forget them, there's very low chance of recovery. I honestly don't remember this. Like, did I even get this? Is this a new component? Watch it be like a new... No, I don't think that. Mustache? Maybe something doing with mustache? Oh! Oh, that took way too long. That's okay. We'll give it a pass. It's a component. So how much time do we... Oh, I spent too much time, huh? So how long is this? This is 2 days away. There's a chance I might have to flip the schedule because it's already 10. I got a little too carried away with ranting. Because that would mean it's at 8 p.m. Level up day is at 8 p.m. Oh, well, half day. Okay, so we might flip the schedule on this day. Or I can take another leap day and just do these and call it a day and push it to Saturday. But yeah, too far off. So 3-day. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan, obviously. I have disagreements with this as well. But make do. Make do. An extra chill day, I suppose. No hurry. Paragraph is rough. Instead of thinking of voice recorder. Voice recorder is pretty rough too. Attach. Valley, face, drum, zombie. Yo, sho, mon, ke, in, su, shu, o, kyu, chin, ako. Ni, and ji, wara, wara e, ji. Came to me quickly today and then now it's slipped out. We'll come back. And say do and do show can he son zone sen bo jo he an kan. Yep, and this is a wrap. That's a wrap for WaniKani today. You're gonna watch this later. Arigatou gozaimasu. Feel free to follow along. Pick up WaniKani for yourself. You're always welcome to stop on by. Right. Exchange some stories. Establish rapport. A bit of banter. Otherwise, yeah, feel free to come on by and hear me rant and talk about things about other things, I suppose. Encounters that I have on a daily basis. Occasionally, I like to make some room for some reflection, but more like open reflection and sharing. It's part of practicing communication, right? Communication skills. Yeah. So for those who are only interested in Japanese, minasan mata ne. See you guys next time. I'm gonna get up, stretch a little bit, walk around, contemplate the meaning of life, and I'll be back for Hanzahiro. Thank you.